welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a spooky autumnal reads recommendation video. I have a couple of books next to me that I want to share with you guys because I feel like they're very atmospheric and spooky. So yeah, I'm just going to do a recommendations video of that. I want to preface right now that there is going to be some books in here that are kind of like how, you know how like some booktubers, like they make the autumnal reads like recommendation videos, and there's some like repeated ones in there. I'm going to have some of the repeated ones, but that just kind of goes to show that you should totally read them because they are shared a lot and in these types of videos. But yeah, without further ado, let's just begin. Also, you know, this lipstick color is beautiful and very autumnal, but it gets everywhere. So if I have lipstick on my teeth, that is the reason why, and I thoroughly apologize if that bothers you. Okay, so I split this video into kind of two parts. I wanted to do one part is the nonfiction books, the other part is the fiction books, and I'm just going to start with the fiction books since that is what a lot of people gravitate towards. The first one I am currently reading, it's September when I film this, so by the time you guys see this, it's going to be October, and this will be in my September wrap-up video of my thoughts, but I am currently enjoying this book. It is The Road by Cormac McCarthy. I have the movie cover edition. I don't necessarily like movie covers on books, but I don't know, just this movie cover though is kind of like, the cover is kind of represents the feels of this book. This book is about a apocalyptic apocalyptic setting, probably not the best thing to be reading during this time in ye old 2020. But yeah, so it's about this boy and his dad, and in a apocalyptic world, and they are just traveling, and yeah, it's very atmospheric. It's like the world is dying, and there's ash everywhere, and it's just dark and gray, and yeah, very atmospheric. I am enjoying the character relationships. This I would classify as a literary book, literary fiction, that's what I meant. Which I'll put probably what it is there, but yeah, this I would classify a literary fiction novel. It is, you have to dig deeper into it, but you don't have to. It's just, I don't know, it's just a really great book, and I find that this would be perfect for the spooky autumnal vibes, autumnal read. So yeah, the next book that I want to talk about is probably the book one of the books I was talking about that would be repeated on people's book recommendations video for autumn time, and that is Alice Hoffman's Practical Magic. And this follows a pair of sisters, two sisters, and their lives, and they are magical witches, I guess, in a fictional sense, not in a modern day sense, in the Hollywood sense, if you will. And yeah, I read this last year, and around this time actually, and it was the perfect book to get me in the spooky autumnal mood. I love the cover too. It's very pretty, shiny. And yeah, it just follows these two sisters, and one of them is like kind of the rebel, and the other one is like kind of like the follows all the rules and stuff gal. And yeah, it kind of like talks about like their relationship with each other and other people, and there's like a mystery in here. Well, it's not necessarily a mystery, but it's like a thriller type. I'm not sure. This, I believe, as well as The Road, these are both very much character-driven books. I would say The Road more is more character-driven than Practical Magic, but they are both very much character-driven books. And I know I said in my reading taste video, kind of a video explaining, defining my reading taste, I'm not much for character-driven books, but if that says anything, that says that, you know, you should definitely read these books. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed them, and I think that they, Practical Magic and The Road, are perfect autumnal reads. The next book that I have to recommend is a book called Things to Do When It's Raining by Marissa Stapley. This is also a character-driven book. Wow. Okay, yeah, this is also a character-driven book, and I love the cover of it. I don't know, it's a very dark book. The Road and Things to Do When It's Raining is more dark than Practical Magic, I would say. But yeah, this is about this girl, and she, her husband or her fiance kind of leaves her in the dust, and he basically just like ruined, like he left her, and how do I put that? He left her, and you know, he stole a bunch of money and stuff and made a fake business to do so. So she's kind of like left in the ruins of his like destruction that he caused. And so in order to deal with that and the loss of him, she ends up going back to her hometown with her grandma and grandpa. And her grandma and grandpa are like dealing with their relationship too, like things that happened in their relationship, and it's just a book all about relationships and the struggles and you know, downfall, as well as uplifting moments of relationships, specifically in this family. There's also like a romance involved too between the main character, the girl, and her childhood best friend / crush. Yeah. And the reason why I chose this for autumnal reads is because it's also very atmospheric. It has a lot of rain in it, and it's just very cozy, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah. See, so the next book that I don't actually have on me, but it is also another repeated book on these videos, and it is City of Ghosts, I believe. I'll put it right here. I'm sure you've heard about this if you have been on ye olde booktube for a while and watched these videos, and it's just basically about this girl. It's like a YA / children's novel by Victoria Schwab. Why was that hard for me to pronounce? And so it's basically about, here, I'm gonna scoot over so I can talk while that's on. And it's basically about this girl who, her family is ghost hunters, and she can see ghosts, but her mom and dad don't know that. And her mom and dad go to Edinburgh with her to film a paranormal, like, ghost reality TV show, because they're very well-renowned paranormal experts and hunters. And yeah, it's very atmospheric and perfect for this spooky time. And yeah, so, alright. Segueing into the nonfiction books, and actually speaking of ghosts, I would recommend, let's see, I Am Haunted by Zach Bagans. Now, I know what you're going to say. Well, first of all, who's Zach Bagans? Maybe, if you don't know. He's the host of Ghost Adventures, which I'll put right here. And it's basically a reality TV show where they're hunting ghosts, and it is excellent and funny and interesting. And I've been watching Ghost Adventures for a couple of years now. And I actually made a review of this book. It's like 40 minutes or so. Contains spoilers, but also it doesn't, because the first part, it doesn't, and then the next part, the second part, it does. So, both contains and doesn't contain spoilers. So, yeah, I Am Haunted by Zach Bagans. It's actually called I Am Haunted, Living Life Through the Dead. It's basically like little anecdotes of his life, and, well, not necessarily life, but little, like, snippets of, like, experiences he had with ghosts and the living, and, you know, it's just all about him, and it's very interesting. I read it, well, I did read it when it wasn't raining, but I'll put a clip in here where I read it when it was raining, and it was very spooky, and I loved it. But yeah, I highly recommend I Am Haunted during this spooky time. As you can tell, I kind of noted it, I guess. Yeah, so speaking of another Zach Bagans book that I reviewed, I would recommend Dark World by Zach Bagans. This is basically more about ghosts than the last one that I showed you. The last one does have ghost stories, but it doesn't necessarily like talk a lot about ghosts, I guess. I mean, it does, because he's a paranormal investigator, but this one is more about his ideas and his thoughts on the paranormal world in a scientific sense. So yeah, this was very interesting, and I highly recommend it for spooky reading time. Can you tell that I believe in ghosts? I don't know. Okay, so let's see. I'm just going to put a picture of the next book here, because I don't really, it's like with my bookshelves, they're like double layered, and the book that I want to get is in the back, and I don't feel like moving a whole bunch of books. So, the next book that I want to talk about is any of Caitlin Doty's books, but the specific one that I want to recommend is Smoke Gets in Your Eyes by Caitlin Doty. And this is a nonfiction book as well about, let's see, her experience working as a mortician, as a in the crematory, you would say, yeah. And it talks a lot about death and grief, and she's very respectful and stuff when she's talking about like working in the crematory, and yeah, it's very interesting. Actually, this would be good for a year-round read, but I would recommend this for the spooky time because I don't know, like with Halloween and fall, all the leaves are dying, and with Halloween, ghosts and ghouls and like skeletons are like a thing, as well as like creepy graveyards. So like death is very influenced, well, very much a part of Halloween. So I figured that why not learn about more about death from a crematorian perspective? So yeah. The last book that I have to recommend is another nonfiction, because we're in the nonfiction section. It is Mindhunter by John Douglas and Mark Olshaker. This is a trigger warning book as well about, it's basically a memoir about John Douglas's experience working inside the FBI's elite serial crime unit. So he talks about true crime cases he solved, like serial killers and just crime in general, but more on the murder sense, I guess, and death sense. And it's very interesting. It's actually, I did, again, as well as Practical Magic, I read it around this time last year. And it was very much interesting, very much spooky, I guess, in a sense. Yeah, this book is very interesting, and if you're not, it's not for the faint of heart. There is some, like, even with me, there was some, like, things that was in here that was very, like, horrendous and sad and triggering for me. But yeah, so it's like a hard-hitting book, but it's very interesting, and I highly recommend it for this spooky autumnal time. So yeah, that was all the books that I have to share with you guys for this round of spooky autumnal reads. Now I'm sure next year I will share different books. So thank you so much for watching. If you guys have any spooky book recommendations, or not books, you can even talk about like movies or TV shows, or like even music that you like to read, or not read, listen to, and watch during this spooky season. Feel free to comment them down below. Podcast recommendation, I just thought of this. I would recommend, I'll give you guys like one recommendation for like each category, I guess, for me. So podcast recommendation, I would recommend And That's Why We Drink, which is, part of it is a paranormal story time. Like, they talk about like haunted places and stuff and the ghosts in there. And then the next half of it is true crime. So they talk about true crime and serial killers and stuff, and it's very interesting. So I would recommend that for spooky recommendations. Let's see. Movie, I would recommend probably, like, you know, just to be basic right now, either Halloween Town or Hocus Pocus, even though that's like what everybody's watching. But yeah, there's a reason why everybody watches it. Okay, and then TV shows, I would recommend either Supernatural, which is beautiful, or Gilmore Girls, which gives you very much fall vibes. Supernatural gives you spooky vibes. So yeah, and then let's see, music. I typically listen to a lot of folk music and indie acoustic music, so I'd have to recommend Mumford and Sons, which, yeah, that's a good spooky recommendation. Or you could listen to The Smiths, because that is also a good spooky recommendation. They're more like post-punk, like alternative music, but yeah. Okay, yeah, so comment down below what your spooky recommendations are. I would love to know. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a good day. Bye. So yeah, without further ado, I'm just gonna share with you guys some some spooky autumnal reads.